Right, so good morning and welcome to Sports Today. Today is Wednesday, the 9th of April 2014. It's the morning after the night before. The night before what? Well, it was a great night of Champions League action. It was Chelsea making it to the semi-finals of UEFA's greatest competition. We'll see how they managed to get that done. Then we'll also focus on tonight's games where Man United will look to upstage the apple cart and advance at the expense of Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich. Can they or can't they? We'll look at that as well. We'll also delve into the local scene where the First Capital Plus League has just gotten better. Why? Well, because the league sponsors have made some interesting donations to all 16 teams. We'll see what they donated and why. We'll also do some boxing where it's Aite Powers versus Bukum Banku. That's the proposed fight. Question is that fight coming on or not? Aite Powers apparently has refused to sign. We'll get more details on that because the PRO of the Ghana Boxing Association, Na Dakwa, will join me in the studio for discussions. We'll do all that live here on Sports Today in the space of an hour and a half. Did I also mention that we'll go through today's newspapers and then see the headlines that are making the rounds? My name is Hanson, Joseph Hanson. Let's do a quick break. When we return, the show begins in earnest. Right, glad to see that you rejoined me after the break. If you've made a decision to stay with Sports Today, it's a great decision. We're going to begin by looking at today's newspapers to see the headlines that are dominating, the stories that are making the news and doing the round. So let's begin with the 90 Minutes, one of Ghana's biggest selling sports newspapers. And immediately on the front of that, you see focus there on United versus Bayern Munich in the form of Ribery, who is saying that he's going to kill Manchester United tonight. That may be easier said than done. United need to score, having drawn the first leg 1-1. So they will have to do some attacking this evening. We'll see how that goes. And Asamoah Gyan is also in the picture there. He's saying he'll, Asamoah Gyan is swimming in cash, basically. That's focused on his money. And then beneath the 90 Minutes banner headline, you see Balotelli there in a lovely pose with a beautiful woman. And there's a message there. There are more details on that, as well as stories on Neymar, who's gunning for the World Cup, though he has to finish the season with Barcelona. And all those stories are available in the 90 Minutes. So let's just flip through the newspaper quickly. And that's interesting. You see, Bekoe, former striker Eric Bekoe, you remember him, he's blasting Chelsea. And he has the claim that he's received foreign offers. Then you have Gyan swims in cash as he launches Rolls-Royce. So you may see a Rolls-Royce in Ghana anytime soon. And Dede Ayew is saying he wants to play for Man United or Liverpool. And yes, those stories perpetually do the rounds. Stories of Dede Ayew joining United or Liverpool. We hope those stories come to fruition a bit later. Also in the paper, speaking of Marseille, which is where Dede Ayew plays, it's been alleged that Marco Bielsa will be heading there to take the place of Didier Deschamps at the end of the season. So those are some of the stories in the 90 Minutes. Opari is also on Arsenal's radar to replace Wantaway Bakari Sanya. So flipping through the paper, we'll just pick one or two more essential stories. There's up and close a personal story on KP Boateng. You can get details on that. And perhaps let's look at this. This is interesting. You have an ex-Arsenal star there who is joining the jihad. Messi closes in on Suarez and Ronaldo. That's the race for the European Golden Boot, of course. That's the race for the Golden Boot, of course. So Messi is closing in. And you also see ex-Arsenal star. It's been alleged has joined jihad fighters in Syria. If you want to find out which star that is, you grab a copy of the 90 Minutes. And there's also a statement there at the top right-hand corner from Patrice Evra, who is saying we will copy Chelsea and beat Bayern today. Easier said than done, I can assure him. The Allianz Arena is not a place for the faint of heart. And at the bottom, the incredible Falcao may be ready for the World Cup. You remember that he suffered a serious injury that was expected to keep him out of the World Cup, but it seems he may be fit ahead of schedule and should be able to play some part in Colombia's attempt to do well at the World Cup. So those are some of the key stories in the 90 Minutes. Let's now move to the graphic sports. Ghana's graphic sports, yet another paper with a very large following. So you see the stories there that are dominating the headlines. And Balak, he has given a World Cup warning. He says, beware of black stars. He's telling those in Ghana's group to beware of the Black Stars, and he would know. He was in Ghana recently for ASEAN's charity match. He's watched a lot of the Black Stars, played against a lot of our players, and with a lot of them as well, so he knows what he's saying. And there you see Samuel Inkum and his wife, Kukwa Inkum. And spouses are not needed at the World Cup. If you want to find out who is saying that, you can get the graphic sports and get details on that. And Kevin Prince Boateng is in the news here as well. He featured in the 90 minutes. But here, it's about him welcoming his new son. So let's continue with the paper review. Let's head to the back page. And you see an interesting story there. Mariano Barreto, remember him? He was in Ghana as a coach, and it's believed he absconded. He basically ran away. And apparently he was in line for an Ethiopian job, but that deal has been scuppered as well. It's believed Goran Stevanovic, also who once worked with the Black Stars, he's expected to be in line for that job. And it's been alleged that the Ethiopian FA contacted the Ghana FA, and they advised them to rather go for Plavi, or Goran Stevanovic as he's known. And at the bottom there you see beware of Black Stars and Mediama and Medeiros in a tricky clash. That's one of Mediama's outstanding games. You need to follow that with interest, because it's going to affect, eventually, if they win all the two outstanding games, it's going to affect the standing of the First Capital Plus Premier League. And then there's the story there from the front page, beware of Black Stars. Details are provided in the graphic sports. So perhaps we'll just flip through the paper quickly. And I'm interested in this. This is a letter. This is a letter which focuses on Joshua Clote. Remember that he fights tonight, or early this morning. Tonight in Australia, but perhaps early this morning. And he needs to win if he's to have a chance of getting a shot at a world title fight. So that's a letter from one of the fans to him. We certainly wish him the best of luck. We'll, of course, keep you posted on what happens in that fight here on Sports Today. And there's also a letter there bidding Aiko's First Capital. They've done well. They've put the Premier League back in the spotlight. Right. So that does it for our newspaper review, 90 minutes and the graphic sports. They're available on your newsstand, so get a copy if you must. Let's now begin with some of our key stories for this morning's show. Let's begin with the UEFA Champions League, where last night it was Chelsea facing the somewhat impossible task of obtaining a 2-0 deficit, a 3-1 deficit, needing to score 2 goals to advance that they suffered at the hands of PSG. So let's see how Chelsea got it done. Let's see how Mourinho made it to the semi-final for the 5th straight year with a 3rd different team. Just gone by was the preview of the Man United versus Bayern game. That takes place at the Allianz Arena at 6:45, same time as the tie, which is also nicely poised between Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. It's poised at 1-1. Remember that these ties will be meeting for the 4th time, the previous 3 meetings ending in draws. Now to the Europa League, the quarterfinals also take place tonight, the second legs that is, and Benfica face AZ Alkmaar. Lyon also come up against Juventus, and Lyon are already down by 1-0. Sevilla FC also face FC Porto, and Valencia will take on FC Basel, which is where Samuel Inkum used to play. Those matches take place tomorrow night, Thursday night, which is a Europa League night traditionally. So that promises to be very interesting there. Right, so there you saw the Europa League fixtures, and we've looked ahead to tonight's Champions League action. So let's now zone into Ghana and see what's happening on the local scene. Let's begin with the First Capital Plus League. And the sponsors, the First Capital Plus, have donated some drums to all 16 teams. So let's get a video insert and see exactly why, or the morale or the intention behind this donation.
I want to thank First Capital Bank for the support so far, and I must say we are grateful. These items that have been donated to the clubs, I think it's in the right direction. And I'm pleading that to the clubs, those who do not have signature tunes should now start, so that all the 16 clubs will have a signature tune and will be played at a stadium wherever they are playing, to make the game of football more exciting. Because football match, apart from its business, is also an entertainment product that we all need. When you visit other countries, when it's football matches, you see the whole family going to watch the match, including their 4 years, 5-year-olds. In our case, it's not like that, but I know very soon we'll get there. We need to improve our facilities, the infrastructures, and put a lot of measures in place so that we'll all enjoy the game On this note, I want to thank First Capital Plus Bank.
It is a great delight and honor to be here in place of my boss, in the person of Mr. John Kofi Mensah, the CEO of First Capital Plus Bank, the newest bank in town. I do not take it for granted, the opportunity granted to me to sit in his stead. I'm most grateful. We are all gathered here this afternoon to witness something that my predecessors have already said has never happened before. I would want to reiterate a fact that our football, the face of our football is changing. Gone were those days when you go to the stadium, you hear some kind of music that you don't know where it belongs. Now, when you see the footballers, even actively doing the Jama thing, you hear the gospel at its peak. And First Capital Plus want to identify with such. As it has been said, I have never seen any vehicle without an engine or anybody dancing without a music. I'm yet to see. So it is in football. We can never have a successful match without supporters. That is why we have gathered here this afternoon. The supporters of the 16 clubs herein gathered, we sincerely say we appreciate you this afternoon. And this presentation is mainly dedicated for you. We are entrusting these instruments in your care. I will mention them at the tail end of my presentation. And it is part of the sponsorship package made by GFA and First Capital Plus Bank to you when we sign the sponsorship agreement. I should emphasize that this is just the beginning, because the best is yet to come. We recognize and appreciate the roles that the club's supporters play and deem it as a crucial role in making our passion game the game. To this end, we hereby present this set of drums to the 16 clubs supporters group. Play it hard and harder, that all will hear about the startling performance of the club during any match. Let this be a stepping stone to energize you to cheer and support the heroes, to score the CK-like goals, not any ordinary goals. I'm told CK goals was at the center straight. When we sit and we observe, all we say is goal. And once you hit the drum hard, you just tell the player that you need a goal. And you have a special way of doing so. That is what FCP is requiring from you.
We have our sponsors providing the 16 Premier League clubs with something to play about, with something to motivate the clubs, with something to make football interesting, and with something to draw the crowd to the stadium. About 2 weeks ago, the PLV received the information that there's going to be a ceremony involving the presentation of drums to all the 16 Premier League clubs. I discussed this with somebody outside, and he said, oh, but why don't you wait till those who are to be relegated get out of the scene before you bring these things out? Because otherwise, within the next few months, that is by the end of May, some 3 clubs will be relegated, and then new ones will be brought in. So I said, hey, you made a point. But then I asked, and the First Capital Plus Bank told me that it doesn't matter. They can go with it, so long as they continue to be in football. Shall we give them a hand? At least this presentation will go a long way for even those who will be relegated, so that when they get to that level and they start using them, then the competitors who will be within that group, that is the first division, we realize that they are seniors who have come from afar. So don't worry. Even if you go to relegation, you go with it.
Interesting thoughts there coming from the PLB chairman, Welbeck Abrapia, speaking on the receipt of those 16 drums from the First Capital Plus Bank. Those drums will, of course, go to the 16 teams currently in the Premier League. And the idea is to increase the excitement at the various venues when these matches are being played, and to enable the supporters or those in charge of the drums to make even more noise when goals are scored. So we certainly congratulate First Capital Plus for what is indeed an interesting idea, and one that should go a long way to improving attendance, which is the most important thing at the venues for these Premier League games. So let's move on to our next story, which is still on the First Capital Plus Premier League, and now we'll hear from John Hanson, who's the Dwarfs administrative manager. Dwarfs have been struggling this season, but he's taking time out to speak to Joy Sports, and here he presents his thoughts on the league.
For you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's one of the serious competitive league for this season. I can't recollect when we had this type of tides on the table, but I could see that, hey, it's very challenging. You cannot tell who is going and who is coming, and it's been very, very competitive. And we've seen a lot of good officiating. We've seen a lot of good work by the PLB. We've seen a lot of good work by the support of the security. And for me, so far, so good. I haven't seen anything to complain much about. When you are down there, anything you wish to complain, you might hope that it goes your way. But if it doesn't go, hey, what can you do?
And with the 10-point lead that Kumasi Asante Kotoko has taken, you think is a done deal for them?
It can be a done deal. There is some type of things happening in this year's league, one of which is you can't predetermine other matches unless they finish with the game. It's becoming very difficult on the day. But what is happening at Asante Kotoko is because they've been winning some of their away matches, it gives them the edge to be where they are. But I don't see them dropping. I don't see them dropping. It's likely they might go with the trend they are going.
And for your club, are you going to stay, or probably you're looking for it to place better?
I don't want to do any prediction from our end. Strategically, we are now picking up from where we were, and I wouldn't want to jam the gun. I mean, all of us down there are not safe, and everybody will want to play safe. So I think we don't have too much comment on that, but we are doing our best.
So there you heard from John Hanson. He's the administrative manager of Cape Coast Ebusua Dwarfs themselves. They are struggling to stay in the league this season. They believe they will survive. There are some few games left, so they have some points to fight for if they are indeed to secure that survival. And remember that this is Sports Today. This is the Wednesday edition. The show runs from 7 to 8:30. And coming up, we'll hone in on that big fight between Ite Powers and Bukom Banku, because I'll be joined later on by Na Doku, who is the PRO of the Ghana Boxing Association. So you could send in questions you may have for her. Send those in now, and she will join me later to do discussions. But for now, let's hear from Joseph Langabell. He was also in the news recently. He's asked journalists and the media to perhaps desist from putting too much pressure on the Black Stars in terms of calls for details of the budget to be exposed. He's saying that the Stars need to be left alone to focus on doing something great in Brazil 2014. Joseph Langabell spoke to Joy Sports. Let's listen to what he had to say on this and other matters.
Did well. They did fantastic job, because as a sponsors, who they think about the Ghana teams, and even though it's not the teams alone, they come and give them the money, but they said that they want to see the vibration of all the Premier League to do something better when they go to the stadium. Well, because of them, they think further that they want to give them, everybody, the clubs, drums to enjoy themselves. It's a very, very good idea. But the only thing I want to tell the clubs, when they get their drums, they should change the colors of the drum. Everybody put their own colors. This is the first time for them. They want to do something, but they're supposed to consult the chief drummer to know the better drums, because the drums are good, but the skin is not good enough. No, the only thing I want to appeal to the clubs, when they get the drums, but on hearing.
Nipa beye bi wan beye ni na. There you heard expert drummer Joseph Langebel. He is the GFA official drummer. He was given his take on the drums donated by the First Capital Plus Bank. He believes that the drums need to have their colors changed to reflect the identity of each team, which I believe is a laudable suggestion. And he also spoke about the quality of the drums and how those drums should be played. Let's move on. Let's now hear from Daniel Yeboah, who formerly played in the Ghana Premier League. He was known then as Argentina. He's spoken to Joy Sports and he's made a number of startling revelations, including why he feels the quality in the league is just not good enough.
To play, but not to play here, because the game here, the standard for me is too low, and it will be very difficult to be in this. The standard has fallen so bad. I mean, look at the game. I watched the Liberty against us. It was, I mean, you can't complain, although we won, but the standard of the game, as you know, has come down.
Okay, Daniel, what has changed? Your time at Kotoko, you played at Lions. From that time and now, what do you think has changed?
For me, we don't have that quality players we used to have in those days. Look at the players like Stephen Odru, Chastela, and nowadays. If I will go back to Liberty, look at the players we had under Jones. When I went to Kotoko, look at the players we had under Razak and Hanson Smith. I mean, the game, the standard for me is down now.
Argentina, they're certainly not mincing words. He feels that the standard in the league has fallen. Do you agree with him or do you disagree with him? He spoke there to Joy Sports' Benedict Owusu, and he is not going to play in the league anytime soon. He believes that the standards have fallen. We'll see whether he plays in the league or not. Let's now do some other stories that are dominating the world of sports. Let's begin with Ash Gold, because the CEO is under pressure due to their poor performances of late. There you see him there. Kujo Fianu has up to Friday to vacate his post or risk being pushed out. So the boardroom shenanigans at Ash Gold are continuing. Angry fans have issued a 4-day ultimatum to the beleaguered CEO. In other news, Mohamed Polo says he will quit, but not now. He will quit when he's ready, and he'll quit if situations do not improve. He smells a rat, literally. He smells sabotage, and if things continue the way they are, he'll step aside. Remember that he is under pressure. Hearts are now third in the log. They run the risk of finishing fourth, especially if Mediama are able to win the outstanding games, and he's lost his last two. Needless to say, it's imperative that he wins his next game. In other news, Hearts defender Philip Buampong has issued an apology to the fans for abandoning the club in search of greener pastures. And remember that he traveled to the United States, to the MLS to be precise, where he was searching for what you'd call a greener pasture. You could understand him, in a sense. Times are indeed very hard, but he's apologized to the fans, and this may perhaps be a way of him paving an entry back into the fold of Hearts. And the best way to do that is to get the fans on your side. Now, Hearts of Lions president Randy Abe, the former GFA spokesman, has ridiculed suggestions that he's influencing referees in the Ghanaian top flight following his side's amazing run this season. These are stories that are always bandied about. Lots of stories, lots of smoke, but no fire, no damning proof. And Randy Abe has denied and ridiculed these suggestions. There's nothing, no truth to it, he says. Now, moving on to the next story, dominating the news headlines, dominating sports. And Aqua says that Essien has influenced his career, and he plays for Parma, Afriye Aqua, and he believed that the good form that he's been displaying in the Italian league is due to him watching the performances of Michael Essien. Michael Essien is his inspiration. Essien, also in the Italian Serie A at the moment, has indeed been an inspiration to many of Ghana's players. And Afriye Aqua will be hoping to gate crash the World Cup party. Moving on, Alfred Duncan has been slammed by the Livorno chairman. He's been slammed by the Livorno coach, I beg your pardon, Spinelli, because he believed that the guy has underperformed. And Duncan, remember, is seen as one of Ghana's brightest prospects. He's slid down the rankings as far as performance is concerned, and his Livorno chairman has taken notes and has asked him to sit up or be pushed out. Moving on, Elche. Elche is the team, of course, that Richmond Boakye plays for. He's certainly hoping to gate crash the World Cup party, and he's been praised for netting the winner against Getafe at the weekend, and it was a win that Elche believes will help them to stay up in the top flight. And Richmond Boakye has scored lots of crucial goals for them this season, so he's come in for praise from the Spanish coach. Now, Arsenal, it's believed, and I hope this is yet another story. We hope this has substance. It would be nice to see a Ghanaian player playing for Arsenal. Frimpong has left, so Opare is the next in line for Arsenal, it is believed. This is according to the Daily Mail, and he's being watched by Ghana scouts. This is because Bakary Sania may leave the club. It's also believed that Real Madrid are interested in the services of the fullback. Rabiu Mohammed, this may be worrying for Ghanaian fans. He's expected to be a key feature of Ghana's midfield at the World Cup, which is not so far away, and indeed the deadline for teams to present their preliminary squads to FIFA is approaching, and he's getting closer to fitness after being sidelined with an injury for months. Rabiu, we hope, will be fit in time to lace up his boots and feature for the Black Stars. The Black Stars are keen to become the first African side to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. Michael Ballack, he was in Ghana last year, and he's labeled Ghana one of the strongest teams in Africa. This gives credence to the story we read earlier. It's a dominant story in today's papers, and he believes that Ghana are good, but naturally, he's German, so he's tipped his country, Germany, of which you saw Andre Schürrle in action last night. He's tipped them to progress out of Group G at the World Cup. Alongside Ghana, we certainly hope. Asamoah Gyan, our captain, has continued his goal-scoring exploits out there in the UAE, but here in Ghana, he's been nominated for the 2013 SWAG Sports Personality of the Year. Unfortunately, he will do battle with his coach, Kwesi Appiah. That award ceremony takes place later in May, next month, and Asamoah Gyan has been instrumental in getting Ghana to the World Cup. He scored lots of goals. Indeed, he was the top scorer for all countries after qualifying, and he could pick up that award. And Emmanuel Adebayo knows that his boss, Tim Sherwood, is certainly under fire, but Adebayo feels indebted to him. Why? Well, simply because Andre Villas-Boas, the former boss there, did not give Adebayo a look-in. Under Sherwood, Adebayo has flourished. Indeed, at the weekend, he grabbed a brace in Tottenham's 5-1 win over the Black Cats, Sunderland. Now moving on, continuing with more stories here live on Sports Today, live here on Joy Sports on Multi-TV, and Arun Akone is the centerpiece of our next story, and he's unlikely to play this season for Everton. He joined them this season on loan. We haven't seen much of him, but he's had surgery, and as a result of this, he's a doubt for the World Cup. Though the Ivorians will not be scratching their heads over his loss, there are lots of replacements in that Ivorian squad, which is rich in talents, particularly talents up front. So Arun Akone in doubt. We certainly wish him a speedy recovery, and this is the story I made mention of earlier. So let's now do some more details. And Ethiopia apparently have rescinded their decision to give their head coaching job to ex-Ghanaian coach Mariano Barreto. Instead, they are keen on giving the job to Goran Stevanovic. Both men, of course, coached in Ghana. They coached at the highest level. Barreto left Ghana under circumstances that were never really explained. Goran Stevanovic, it's believed, will step into his shoes. He will pick up the Ethiopian job. Now, Taiwo, we are still on the African continent. He doesn't have too much hope in his chances of making the Nigeria squad this summer, and Stephen Keshi will certainly name his squad in the coming days. So we'll see if Taiwo's pessimism is rewarded or not. We would certainly not mind seeing him at the World Cup. He's renowned for scoring goals from distance. So Bursa Sports Taiwo is praying. We are praying with him. Now, Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi has denied claims by his former assistant, Okpala, that the money given to the team by the River State's government after their last showing at the Nations Cup, where they won, naturally, has not been shared. He's denying that story. He's disassociating himself from that story. And in other words, by inference, he's saying that the money has indeed been received and been shared amongst the winning side. Stephen Keshi, of course, the second man in the history of African football to win the Nations Cup as both a player and a coach. All right, so the fun is just beginning here on Sports Today. It's the Wednesday edition. Let's do a quick break. When we return, we hone in on the Ghana Boxing Association. We find out if that fight is coming on May 16th as promised, and if it's not coming on, what sanctions are going to be given out to those who dared to spoil one of the biggest parties that boxing has seen in Ghana in a long while. We'll be right back. Right, so welcome back to Sports Today with me, Hanson, Joseph Hanson. And like I promised you from the beginning of the show, we'll now focus on boxing because Joshua Clottey fights later today. He's taking on Mundine. He's looking for a chance to get back into the main conversation as far as world title fights are concerned. He needs to get a win tonight, and we'll certainly be praying that he gets one. But I've been joined in the studio by a lady. She's the PRO for Ghana Boxing at the moment. And good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, so she's Na Dodu.
Nada Dodu, yes.
Okay, so welcome to Sports Today.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. So let's begin. We'll focus on Joshua Clottey a bit later, but for now, let's start with the fights that everyone in Ghana is looking forward to. First off, the fight is coming on, right?
As of now, we don't know yet because Aite Powers has not opted out yet. He is saying he will fight, but we should put it on hold.
Okay, so brief us. When was the last interaction you had with the both boxers? Because the last time we spoke to you, that was ahead of a meeting involving both parties, at which a contract for May 16th, I believe it was, was to be signed. Yeah. So kindly update us on that.
Yes, a supplementary contract was supposed to be signed yesterday. Yes, the promoter was there, Alex Ntiama was there, GBA board, we were all there in our numbers. Both boxers were there with their managerial team. Brian Makamoko signed with his manager. And then when it got to Aite Powers thing, he just sent in a letter. And he has stated that he is pleading that we should put the fight on hold. But he did not state any date, nothing. Just that he is petitioning that this particular bout should be put on hold due to personal reasons. So we should put it on hold. Unfortunately for him, our president just stood on his stand and said that
the president would be Peter Zwane.
Yes, lawyer Peter Zwane said this fight has been rescheduled to on the 16th, and today you're here to sign this supplementary contract. So as far as we know, the bout is on the 16th of May. So we are not changing that date. And Aite kept insisting that it's personal reason. We don't understand him. We should understand him. He is mentioning God, God, God. He knows why he's mentioning God. The Aite Powers we see now is not the Aite Powers we used to know. So we should give him some time. The contract is contract. He said this fight is not even on, but we should just look around what is happening. If this fight should come on, something will happen. Something will happen. I said, Aite Powers, this is contract. This is your profession. This is not the first time, and it's not going to be the last time. So please, just sign it. You say you will fight, and you can't fight without signing the supplementary contract. So just sign it. Go out there, consult whoever you want to consult. The contracts had already been signed. He kept insisting that he's not going to sign the contract yesterday. So yesterday, he didn't sign the contract. He did not.
So Aite Powers did not sign the contract yesterday?
Yes, Aite Powers did not, but Brian Makamoko did.
So what does that mean going forward? Does it mean that the fight is not going to happen? Because from what you're saying, it looks like it's not going to happen, or if it's going to happen, we don't know when.
Yes, if it's going to happen, it will happen on the 16th. That one is for sure, because the date will not be changed again.
16th between who and who? Right now you have only one
yes, if it's going to happen, then it's going to be between Aite Powers on the 16th. But if not, it's not going to be changed. If Aite Powers comes back to say that, oh no, he's pleading, we should reschedule this fight, that is not going to happen. It's either you are in or you are out. So on Monday, we're calling for emergency meeting as the GBA board. You know, if finally he pulls out, between him and then the promoter, it's a breach of contract. Yes, and sanctions are there for him. Between him and the board, the sanctioning board, it's misconduct. And GBA will descend heavily on him if he should pull out.
Okay, so be more specific when you say descend heavily on him. What's planned?
Yes, looking at that particular contest, as GBA is going to decide on the sanctions that will be put on Aite Powers should he pull out. GBA is going to descend heavily, depending on the fight, the particular bout. Looking at what has gone into it, advanced tickets have been sold out. This is the first time we haven't sponsors on boxing. Promoters do not have sponsors. That's why they do not promote often in Ghana, because they don't get sponsors. So we wanted to change the face of Ghana boxing. That is exactly what we wanted to do by using this particular bout. And all the sponsors out there, they've agreed to come on board, even after this particular bout. We want to bring the boxing league back, but because of funding, the last man stands, because of funding. So this was an opportunity to showcase what we have, Ghana boxing.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I have never come across this thing in my life. Boxers do pull out, but when they get injured, or a sudden sickness or illness, but to come out and say that spiritually, or because of God, or God says, initially he said, God says, if you fight, if you fight, you win. If you fight, you win, but hold on. Hold on till when? That is what we can tell. But the sanctions are there. GBA have decided. We are putting our faith there because we've put in more. Not only the stakeholders, not only the sponsors, not only the promoter, but the board.
Okay.
The board has put in a lot. Physically, mentally, financially, we've put in our best to make sure that this particular fight comes on, because the whole world is looking up to this particular fight.
Yes, the whole world certainly is looking up to this particular fight. So how did we get to this point? What happened to Aite Powers out there in Nigeria, where he had an encounter with TB Joshua and the Holy Spirit, and subsequently has been running away from this fight since? Here's a recap.
Stand up! Who are you to him?
Today too, eh? You, today. Why are you worrying me? Why are you worrying me like that?
Who are you to him?
Why you want to know?
Jesus wants.
Leave me alone.
Who are you to him?
I said leave me alone.
Why should I leave you?
I said leave me alone.
What have you done to him?
This boy called himself Aite Powers. Aite Powers. Aite Powers. I destroy him.
How?
He's very happy. He's very happy because he's coming to synagogue church of nation.
Speak louder.
Don't force me. I said don't force me.
He's very happy that what?
Let me go. Let me go.
What have you done to him so far?
Go.
What have you done to him?
Let me go.
What have you done to him?
He's a good boxer.
He's who?
He's a good boxer.
What have you done to his career?
I want to spoil his career.
Who are you inside of him? Who are you to him?
Why you want to know? Why you want to know? You want to know me?
Jesus wants. Who are you to him?
Don't call his name.
Why?
I don't want to hear that name. Don't call it.
Who are you to him? Who are you to him?
C'est un boxeur. Mais il a détruit sa carrière.
Man of Jesus Christ, speak out. Who are you to him?
I want to go.
Who are you to him?
I said I want to go.
C'è voz de espíritu satánico, dice eres un boxeador.
I want to go, eh? I want to go.
How did you enter him?
Espíritus satánicos manifestándose ante el poder de resurrección de nuestro Señor Jesucristo en la vida de este hombre.
How did you enter him?
El espíritu dice es un boxeador.
How did you enter his body? Of Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name. Amen. Stand up.
Sobre la reacción inmediata después de la liberación de este hombre, espíritu diciendo es un boxeador, atormentando su vida y su destino en este momento.
Sir?
Escuchemos su confesión.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
Do you remember what you said here? The past is over. give thanks to God. Thank God.
Pasado está terminado.
God, thank you.
Right, so there you saw what happened, why Aite Powers' mind has been wavering since earlier deciding to fight at a date in April. That was on Good Friday. That date was subsequently shifted to May 16th. And even then, there's still some doubts because at a meeting yesterday between both parties in the presence of the GBA, Aite Powers now says he will sign the contract, but he hasn't been able to say when. So I'm still here in the studios with Na Dodu, and she's helping to break down the story more and helping us to find some light at the end of this tunnel. Right. So now, so we saw what happened there.
Yes. Yes. What we're trying to do is to accommodate the promoter, not the boxer.
Yeah.
The boxer cannot come out and tell us, I want to fight on this particular date. No.
Yeah.
So we're trying to look at what has gone in, what the promoter has done. So we're trying to just accommodate the promoter. That was the reason why we agreed to reschedule the date, but not because of the boxers. No, because if you come out, initially we heard that he said he's fighting on the 2nd. That was what we heard. But it came from the boxer, not from the authority, not from the sanctioning body, not from the promoter. So if you come out to say that you're fighting on the 2nd, and your opponent says, I'm also not fighting on the 2nd, what will happen? So we don't look at the boxers, we just accommodate the promoters. And what Aite Powers is doing now, in fact, some do still have faith that he will fight, because just
faith,
in that,
and
yes, that's
probably the genesis of all these problems.
Well,
faith and
yes, faith. But I've never come across something like this before, as I earlier said.
So in your opinion, what do you think is the root cause of Aite Powers suddenly? Because from where I sit, I would have to conclude that he's frightened. He's afraid of fighting Bukom. Because if you bring in the spiritual angle, this is what he does for a living.
Yeah.
Maybe he does other things, but this is what he primarily does for a living. And for a long time, perhaps he's not been making much. This is one fight that offers him the opportunity to make a lot. Because from what you've told me, lots of tickets were sold for a lot of money.
Yes.
So I would struggle to understand why God would suggest that
he shouldn't fight.
Your big payday, which has come after several years of toil and experience, he'd suggest that you shouldn't fight. I'm
thinking that if this is your time, God should rather help you to come out of this. And in sports, it's either you lose or you win.
And should you win, this is a springboard for greater things.
Yes. So and I don't want to believe that Aite Powers is afraid of Gumbangu, because he challenged him.
Yes, and we also saw that. We also saw that video. That was how it started.
Yes.
That was
it's not the first time.
Fight,
It's not the second time. He challenged him severally. In fact, they even wanted Marlon Spain, and then manager of Gumbangu wanted to promote this fight. He said, winner takes all.
Yeah.
Aite did not agree to that, so he didn't come down. He said, if it's everybody is going to get his share, then he will come down. And that was the agreement. That was the reason why Aite came down. So if you now here...
Came down from Australia.
From Australia, yes, that's where he's based. If you are down here for this particular fight, the two of you, you've done well. This is more than Pacquiao and then Mayweather. You've been able to hype this particular bout, and everybody has embraced it. Everybody wants to come on board. Everybody wants to come to GBA, Ghana Boxing Authority. And all of a sudden you come out to say that you know the reason why they should hold on. What are you telling us?
Yeah.
What is Aite Powers telling Ghanaians? What is Aite Powers telling Africans? What is Aite Powers telling the whole world? What is going on? In fact, we really don't understand. Yesterday, truly, I saw Aite Powers. I saw
what was his countenance like at the meeting? Was this a man who was sure of his convictions?
Aite Powers is not the Aite Powers that I used to know.
He's not the Powers you used to know. Subsequent to the interview we saw a few.
All of a sudden, Aite Powers is so bad. The way he even spoke to GBA, Aite Powers was saying, President, I beg you. This is not Aite Powers, the Aite Powers that I used to know. I beg you, just let's put this thing to hold. I won't sign today. If I sign, something will happen. If I sign, I know the reason why. Please believe me. Is this Aite Powers we used to know? I didn't believe what I saw yesterday, but it has happened. We are just praying. Just in that same room, 5 minutes later, he said he didn't say he was not going to fight. That is why I said this is not the Aite Powers I used to know. Aite Powers came out again to say that I didn't say I won't fight. I said I'll fight. The contract should be given to me. I want to study it. I'll come back. I'll fight. So what is Aita Powers doing to us? What is Aita Powers doing to this particular discipline?
So when he says you'll come back, that's the meeting scheduled for next Monday.
We are taking our final decision on Monday.
So in other words, so he has the contract and he's going
because
through it.
Because the last meeting we held for the reschedule of this particular bout, we agreed on the 16th of May, and Aita Powers said we should give him 1 week to go and consult.
1 week to go and consult who?
It's personal.
Bishop, TB Joshua.
It's personal. He said we should give him 1 week. He's going to consult, and then he will come back to us. And yesterday was exactly 1 week. And then you come back again, and you tell us that we should hold on. Till when? He didn't state till when. The date wasn't in there. He didn't state any date. He said we should hold. This time, he's not going to consult, but we should hold on.
So I think this should be resolved
by Monday.
By Monday.
And
perhaps, I'm sure it's been impressed on him, but that point should be reinforced by his promoter to him. The money involved, the tickets that have already been sold, the sponsors that are on board and have invested money that may already have been spent. It should be pointed out to him that should this fight not come on, he stands to lose a lot. I'm guessing at some of the sanctions he could lose. His belt could be possibly revoked. Between him and his promoter, they would have to find a way to refund the money because Ghanaians, in this current climate, no one jokes with money.
No, Aita Powers know what is there for him should he pull out. He knows. Aita Powers knows. He knows. It's stated in the contract that GBA will determine the sanction based on the particular bout. And he knows your license
will be revoked.
Will be revoked. Both locally and internationally, you can be fined, and it will be heavily because a lot has been put into this particular fight.
The fine needs to cover your losses and the losses of the other stakeholders.
Yes.
Basically.
The ring was to come from South Africa. In fact, this was going to rebrand Ghana Boxing. So we were putting in our all, 100%. All the board members, everybody was putting in his all to make sure that this particular bout comes on. But unfortunately, this is what we're hearing. But he's saying he's fighting. So let's see, by Monday, if we don't hear anything tangible from him, we'll come out with our decision.
Exactly. And your decision will be when? The same Monday? Or?
Yes, the same Monday. In fact, we've thought of it. The same Monday will come out finally. We can't wait anymore. Ghanaians cannot wait anymore. People are asking, so should we still buy the tickets or you've given us our money? In fact, we should know our way forward. So by Monday, we'll come out and tell Ghanaians what we intend doing with Aita Powers.
Okay, so you're live here on Sports Today. Aita Powers, the man we are speaking about, is the one on your screens right now. He has up until Monday to finally put pen to paper on that signature. Should he sign, that fight will come on May the 16th. We certainly believe that it will come on. We have faith ourselves. We are praying that the fight comes on, earnestly praying, and because not in a sense poking jibes at his faith, but because we believe and we know what this fight will mean to Ghanaian boxing, both locally and internationally, and what it will mean to both boxers, Bukom and Aita Powers. This is a fight that was to be shown live, or is going to be shown live. We are speaking positively. It's going to be shown live on SuperSport and a number of other stations, and it would have been a good thing for brand Ghana in terms of boxing, since football has been a dominant sport for so long. This was boxing's chance to take some of that spotlight off football. And personally, I was approached by lots of people, lots of friends who ordinarily have no interest whatsoever in sports, but even they wanted ringside tickets, selling for 100 cedis, I believe, to attend that bout. So on Monday, King and King, that's what we say in local terms.
King and King. But before we go,
no, we're not going yet. We'll talk about Joshua a bit.
Yes, I would like to say that we shouldn't be downhearted. We have lots of boxers around. Although we wanted to rebrand Ghana boxing with this particular bout, the corporate bodies they shouldn't be downhearted. They should still come and they will see more exciting bouts. In Ghana boxing we have, but it's just that we don't have the funding. That is the main reason why we're not coming out. We have Basti Samuel, we have Frederick Lawson, we have Duke Maika. We have a whole lot of boxers. When they come on board, it will be very exciting. So please, this is just one out of the lot. Come on board. Come and help GBA. Come and partner GBA. And we'll see more of such exciting bouts.
Okay, so we are certainly looking forward to more of such exciting bouts, one of which will take place in Australia any moment from now between Joshua Clottey and Mundine. Joshua Cloete is, of course, looking to win this fight. He's not going to win a title, but it will put him in contention for a possible title fight. It's been a while since we had a victor in terms of a title fight here in Ghana. We'll speak about him in a bit, but let's finally conclude on the Aite Powers versus Bukom Banku saga. When you look at the two boxers, is there a history? Would you? Because it's bizarre. It's from where I sit, it's fear tactics being adopted by Aite Powers.
Aite Powers. I will not say that.
He's scared. So what is it?
As Aite Powers will say, Bukom Banku is a local champion and he is international champion. So if he's the local champion and you've challenged him, what prevents you? You know what amazes me is that he challenged Bukom Banku. It's not Bukom Banku who went for. Anytime Bukom Banku wins his fight here, Aite will just quickly rush into the ring and say, I'm going to challenge, I can challenge Bukom Banku. I'm going to fight and I'll knock Bukom Banku. You know, that was
they've had so many
of such instances,
yeah.
and
finally,
there was
even a time they were challenging each other to spell words and all kinds of things. So I don't know.
Yes,
this was
and finally, this is the chance for you to prove to us what you've been saying in the ring, that you're going to challenge, you're going to knock him. Unfortunately, this Wula Balu, I don't know, but by Monday, this whole thing will end.
Monday, this whole thing will end. We'll certainly hope for positive closure to this matter on Monday, where we believe, and I'm appealing personally to Aite Powers or to his promoters and to those who are fans of him, get him to sign that paper. Pray for him, get him to sign that paper so that this fight comes on. It will certainly be a must-watch, and imagine the publicity it will bring to Ghana ahead of the World Cup. For once, it will be something not football. Let's do more boxing. Joshua Cloete will take center stage later. He takes on Mundine. Both are former welterweight champions, so they'll be looking. It's a battle of former champions. The winner certainly has a lot to gain. The loser may find himself in the boxing wilderness. So let's take a closer look at Joshua's opponent, Mundine, and see what this man is all about. Right, so there you saw a shot of Mundine in a hectic training, as if to say, bring Joshua on. And Mundine, just to give you a bit of his background, is a native of Australia. He's been a welterweight champion several times, but he's also controversial in that he believes that he's not given the kind of respect that the Australian public needs to give former world champions. Perhaps the respect that they accord some of their other athletes who achieve great exploits in other sports. For example, Ian Thorpe in swimming and some of their other greats, Pat Rafter in tennis. He believes that he ought to be given more respect, and he has a pretty good record. He's won most of his fights, several of them by knockouts, but he's been off the scene for a while, and he believes that the fight against Joshua will give him a chance to get back into the limelight. He has a lot of respect for Joshua. I've read some of his comments on Joshua. He says he's a tough fighter. He's looked at Joshua's CV. He's seen the fighters that he's overcome and those he's lost to. He watched closely Clote's fight against Manny Pacquiao, one of Joshua's less superlative performances, but all the same, Mudin is not leaving anything to chance, and he's promising a tough fight for Joshua. One, quite naturally, he believes he's going to win. I'm here in the studio with Na Dodu. She's the GBA PRO, and we think differently here. We are both Ghanaians, so we believe Joshua will win. Yeah. So now I'll ask you first, before we talk about the fight in more detail, what will a win for Joshua mean to your association, especially in light of the shenanigans being put up by Aite and Bukum? Yeah.
A lot. A lot. As we all know, in recent times, we don't have world champions in Ghana. Joseph Agbeko failed. Osmanu Adama failed. So we're looking up to Joshua. We're looking up to Joshua because it will mean a lot. We just want to have a world champion, at least for our tenor. We just want to have a world champion. So it means a lot. Yeah,
and I spoke to Peter, lawyer Peter, as well as yesterday, and he outlined lots of fights that we've lost recently. He mentioned Agbeko's recent loss, as well as Adamu and a few others. And this was one of the losses that many felt shouldn't have been a loss. It's on our screens. It's the fight between Pacquiao and Clote. We wouldn't want to go into some of the finer details, like Canway and all kinds of issues. But like you said, it would be keen for him to win. And what would winning mean for Joshua?
I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
Every boxer, before getting to the ring, knows whether he's going to win or lose.
That's my point. And I'm sorry for going back to that fight, but I believe Aite thinks you lose. Otherwise, I don't get it.
Well,
it's just a digression. Let's carry on with the point on
every
Joshua.
Boxer knows whether it's either he's going to win for his trainer, he's going to win for the body, the authority, the sanctioning body, he's going to win for himself, or he's going to win for the nation. Or I'm going to lose because of my manager, I'm going to lose because of my promoter.
Well, let's be a bit clear. When you say, because this fight, the conspiracy theorists, for example, believe that it was predetermined who would win. Is that the theory you are buying into? Or you are saying that from each boxer's perspective?
Yes, from each
they know whether they'll win or not. Not that it's a predetermined decision.
Not at all. They know whether they're going in to win. And normally, they have one particular person or one group of people or a group of people they want to win the particular fight for. And GBA visited Joshua Clote.
Exactly. So how is he doing? How is preparations?
He said, I have done everything that a boxer needs to do to win a particular bout.
And he's always in great shape, to be fair to him.
Yes. He said he's not watched much of Mudin. No, he's not done that. But he's going to win for his trainer. He said Aloe has done a lot in boxing. So he's going to win this particular bout for his trainer. So, as I earlier said, every boxer knows whether he's going to win or lose. And he was confident. He said he has overtrained, as Zuma Nelson used to do. When your trainer says you should train for 2 hours, you just add an hour to 8. So you train for 3 hours. And that is exactly what Joshua Clote did. He has overtrained himself. So when it gets to the point that you would think Joshua should be getting tired, that is when he gets the energy to move on. And this is an important bout for Joshua, because both boxers are yearning for a world title. And this is going to pave the way.
At glory,
This is going to pave the way. For Joshua himself, he knows unless he's just going to lose and then retire from boxing. If not, as he rightly told us, that he's promising us that he's going to win this title not only for Ghana and the GBA, but for his trainer. And we all know in this country, Aloe has produced lots of boxers. So if Joshua should come back and tell us that after losing to Pacquiao, winning, he's coming back for a world title shot, and this is going to pave the way, what stops him from doing it? It means he knows, and he's very determined. And we are also very confident from what he said. We are not going to the ring. He is going into the ring. From what he said and for how we saw Joshua on that particular day, we are also very confident that Joshua is going to win this particular bout today.
All right, so there you see highlights of Joshua. This was his last major fight. He's had 2 minor bouts to an extent since then, but this was the major one. Here, a title was on the line against Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao himself has lost some of his luster since then. He's lost a number of fights since then. So it just shows you that no condition is permanent in boxing. Some days you win, some days you lose, and we are certainly hoping that Joshua will win come later today when he takes on Mundine in Australia. And speaking of Australia now, Azuma Nelson once had a great fight there. A few great fights there with Fennec. I'm not talking about the one they had when they retired. No, that was for sure. I'm talking about when they were both active and they had an active rivalry. So I want to ask, do you feel that Joshua perhaps gets enough motivation and advice from boxers like Azuma who've done it before and especially done it in what promises to be a hostile environment?
Yes, they do consult them. They do get closer to them. But one thing we shouldn't forget is it's very difficult winning in Australia, especially Ghanaian boxers. Yeah. It's very difficult. So if you're going in for this particular bout, you're going to knock Mundine.
He needs to take his own referee into the ring, like Azuma says.
Yes. You forget about the referee. Go in and go and knock. Because if you don't, and you go the length, it's likely they'll give it to your opponent. Because that's their country. And that's Australia. And it's not easy winning there, especially Ghanaians. So...
But in a sense, this is a man, Mundine, that is, he complains a lot. He's not really liked in Australia, to be honest. But I guess when push comes to shove, they will support their...
The promoter is there.
Yeah.
You know, it's the promoter who works things out. So it's not about Mundine.
When you say work things out, you see, these are some of the comments I'm interested in. When you say work things out, is that in terms of getting the right referees appointed, that kind of thing?
The promoter promotes the fight. It's the promoter who is promoting the fight. In every sporting discipline, we have ways and means. I'm not saying it's in this particular bout, but we have ways and means. And moreover,
not necessarily
the guys who say away trawa, like when you're going away, you're going out of your country, where I can say there are no even supporters. You're not seeing the red, gold, green, the flag behind you. You are not seeing your friends behind you to push you. Say, Joshua, they'll be speaking in the local dialect that the Australian will not understand, and it will motivate you, especially if you are going to the ring without all these things. Then you have to go with the mindset that you're going to knock your opponent. If not, at the end of round 12, it's going to be difficult. Unanimously, they'll give it to the opponent.
And we've seen that several times, because I watched a few of Ike Quarte's fights that clearly he won on points, but when the points were announced, there was something different. So you have a point there. Joshua needs to knock him out.
No, that's the encouragement and then motivation we used to give to the boxers, that when you're going outside, please, just make sure whatever opportunity you get. If it's the jab, if you are good at jabbing, Joshua is very defensive. If you are good at jabbing, just do it. Take your point. Let the whole world, like Agbeko and then Abner Mares. Everybody saw what happened. The below belt. The whole world saw it. So nobody could deny it. But another opportunity was given to him. And we all saw what happened again. So
Mares clearly won that fight.
It will be fair and clear. Just let it be very clear. Let the whole world see that, no, after the end of round 12, you've won, but the decision was taken from you. And then if it's a rematch or something, we'll all see. But if it is 50-50, 53-47, betting me, it's Australia.
It certainly promises to be a rumble in Australia. And speaking of Joshua, he's fought some 36 times, 22 of his victories coming by knockout. So he's experienced. He'll know how to take his own referee into the ring, to quote Azuma Nelson. Now and myself have done a lot of discussions on Aite Powers and Bukum Banku and Joshua versus Mundine. So this is a chance for you to take part in the conversation live here on Sports Today. The phone numbers you can use to reach me are at the bottom of your screen. So give me a call and let's talk some boxing this morning, especially on Aite Powers and
Brahma Kamoko. Michael Aite Powers and Brahma Kamoko.
Yes, the two of them, but the problem it's making life difficult. So you've seen where the problem is from.
It's making things difficult for all of us. You can imagine what we've put into it. Series of meetings just to make sure these things come to fruition. But I don't know. He said, God, you don't understand me. Please do understand me. I know what I'm talking about. And this is not in sports. You can imagine if the footballers come out to say that, no, our prophets or men of God say we should, on the match against Portugal or USA, we shouldn't. When we do, something will happen. What is going to happen to the sports?
Exactly.
So, in fact, I have not seen some before.
Exactly.
If what I know personally is that everybody's gotten a father who backs spiritual father. So if your spiritual father should see something coming forth, it's either he stops it for you so that you go ahead. But I don't.
So isn't that what's happening here? TB Joshua is perhaps his spiritual father, and he's saying he shouldn't fight.
I'm thinking that if it were to be Nadakwa, a spiritual father, and he sees something forthcoming, it's spiritual. You are seeing the thing. So you have the powers to stop that thing, not me. Not me, Nadakwa. I will go ahead, but you will be behind and then be working towards that spiritual thing. But my spiritual father will not say, Nadakwa, don't go into journalism. Because when you hold a pen, your hand will be swollen. No, pray for me so that that shouldn't happen. But you can't ask me to stop. This is my daily bread. This is where this is what I do. This is my profession. This is what I do. This is what I do, and I feed my family and myself. So if you say I shouldn't go in for it, what are you trying to tell me?
Exactly. What are you trying to tell me is the question now is asking. I have my first caller on the line. Good morning.
The name is David Niadi, calling from Abeka.
Yes, David, go ahead. Comment on the boxing issues, particularly those of Aite Powers versus Bukom Banco.
I'm enjoying your show, but I want to ask another one that is Aite Powers serious at all?
Now he's asking if Aite Powers is serious at all. You can respond.
Taking their money, people buying the ticket. Now you are saying you are not going to fight. Like I bought the ticket I'll send him to court because Aite Powers is not serious at all. Me, what I'm seeing is a friend of Brahma Kamoko. Brahma Kamoko will beat him 6 rounds.
Okay.
If you get down and fight the fight, because as for me, I won't take care of him. I know in real house. I went there. What he's doing is not fair. It's not fair to Ghanaians. I beg you, talk to him. He should fight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've heeded your advice. Your response. There's someone who seems from the community. He knows him well.
He's not being fair, not only to Ghanaians.
He's supporting my theory that the gentleman may be afraid. Yes, my second caller is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, so kindly make your submission. And cheer up. The fight may come on. Let's hear you.
Aite Powers is not afraid of Bukuma. To me, I have confidence in Aite Powers that he will beat Bukuma.
Okay. So why is he not signing the contract? Why is he backing out?
Yeah, he said something. So the promoters or the DD also have to understand. He knows why they should go long. So they say he's afraid of Bukuma. He will beat Bukuma.
Okay. Well, so I certainly like the manner the calls are going so far. We have one for Aite Powers, one for Bukom Banco. Maxwell will break that tie. Good morning, Maxwell.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, so Maxwell, have your say.
Looking at all angles, there's a thing I can that I think penny one cent. You went to stand in the ring and telling somebody that I can beat you. And now the opportunity is there. Come for it. They are saying, TV Joshua. My friend, he's a coward. He can't. If he dares and he doesn't come to the ring, we'll go and fight him personally in his house because he can't fool.
No, we wouldn't. Yeah, I understand the emotional aspect, but we wouldn't want it to denigrate into that, going to his house to approach him. But I get you. And the vitriol coming from the fans, if I were Aite Powers, I'll sign that contract in a hurry. Good morning.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Good morning. I believe I have another call on the line. But now it's clear. And yeah, good morning. Before you come in. Okay. and it's clear that it's something people want to happen. You've heard
boxing has taken another trend. Yes, because I once met an old lady around Usu selling kenke, and she was telling somebody, I said, wow, so this old lady has even heard of this particular about Aite Powers and Bukombangu, which means this particular has gone down. It's gone far, and we are not expecting this. What is happening now, we are all not expecting it. In fact, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it's happening this way. But we are just hoping and praying. As the last minutes of yesterday, he said, I'll fight.
Okay,
I didn't say
I'll fight. The last thing he said was,
yes,
I'll fight. He didn't say when. And I'll take my last caller. Abdul Rahman, welcome to Sports Today. Let's hear you. And it would seem that, is Abdul still there? Okay, so Abdul is gone. He was also going to weigh in with his opinion on this fight. Final words to you now. I personally will be praying. I may not be as spiritual as Aite, but I'll be praying that this fight comes on Monday. So we'll monitor that meeting closely, and we'll hope for a confirmation of that date on Monday. So your final words. Yeah.
It's unfortunate it should happen this way, but I can say that this has brought boxing into the limelight. So it shouldn't end with Aite powers. Whoever wants to come and support boxing should come on board. It's welcome. This is not the end of Ghana boxing. Ghana Boxing Authority still stands still, and we'll make sure we put boxing to the highest level that everybody will appreciate.
Exactly. So pretty emphatic words there from Dodu. Assuming that this fight doesn't come on, and we believe it will, the fight between Aite and Bukom, boxing will continue, and corporate Ghana is invited to get on board. There are more such splendid fights planned in the pipeline, in the proverbial pipeline, and they will come to pass. So now is doing her best to get you on board. And we also want to send out words of support to Joshua Cloete, who represents Ghana today. He takes on Mundine in Australia. We certainly hope he'll be able to be a victor in that particular fight. Sports Today ends now, but we'll end with a moment of the day. And aptly, since we've discussed a lot of boxing today, it comes from Jason Punchin. No pun intended there. That's his name, actually. And he scored a great goal for Crystal Palace against Cardiff. So we'll end with that video. My name is Hanson, Joseph Hanson. Have a great day. We'll meet again soon. Keep hope alive. Goodbye.
Lovely lead from Shamak. Punchin takes it on! What a fantastic goal! That wraps it up in stunning style.
Well, Palace's best player this afternoon has scored the goal of the game. I thought there were more goals in it for Palace against a dispirited Cardiff side. He runs at them, gets it onto his left foot,